What have you noticed about the Eagles' defense going into this week?
Well, you're gonna see a real tough front. You know, they do a good job of getting to the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback, hits in the quarterback. So that's one of the challenges. Those guys up front from Cox, Graham, Bennett, you know, Nada, they all do a real good job. They do a good job with their substitution rush fronts. Their third down numbers are real strong. I think that, you know, it's really looking closely at what are their base looks, trying to prepare for them in the nickel and the base.
You've got a quarterback right now playing at a really, really high level. What's it like coaching a guy like Drew Brees and what he brings to your team?
Well, he's been consistent. You know, he's one of those guys that not only has the physical skill set, but the preparation during the week. Day in, day out, the time on task, you know, it's been remarkable. And, you know, it doesn't feel like we've been here 13 years. It feels more like 6 or 7 years. So we really try to approach each week with the challenge in front of us, and you know, and that's served us well.
Your place is a very difficult place to play. Just talk about that home crowd advantage and what that gives you guys on the defensive side.
Well, look, the very first thing that comes to my mind, home and away, is just communication challenges. You know, when you're home, the challenge communication-wise falls on the defense, because so many of the times they're not going to be able to bark out their adjustments. They're going to have to do it with the noise, and on the road it falls on the offense. So, you know, we've got a loud venue, and, you know, our fans have been fantastic. Certainly we think it's an important advantage, and nonetheless recognize, you know, when we have to play on the road, that it just kind of flips around relative to the communication.
You guys have added Brandon Marshall, obviously after losing Des Bryant with the Achilles injury. Just what does he bring to your offense? What did you see with that addition?
Well, in the workout last week, you know, we saw someone in shape. He's got very good size, gives you a real good catching radius. So, you know, his strong hands, he's a quick study. He's been in a handful of offenses, but certainly when he came on board, he's someone that picked things up real quick and practiced today.
A linebacker, you have Alex Anzalone, just kind of a quiet guy, but seems to be really, really consistent. Talk about his play this year. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, we drafted Alex a few years back out of Florida. He's one of those linebackers with really good instincts, good ball skills, and, you know, he's really played well in the last few weeks. So he's on the field in third down. He's got real good range, and you know, gave us a big turnover here a couple weeks ago against the Rams before the end of the half. He's done well.
Sean, sorry if you've been asked this, but when you look at the Eagles' defense on tape, what are some things that stand out to you?
I was asked this, the first question, but I'll answer it again.
Sorry, I just got here. I apologize.
Yeah, I got it. Look, I think the first thing that stands out is their rush pattern. The guys up front are real difficult. You know, their quarterback pressures are up again. Their third down numbers are fantastic. You know, you got to have a plan for Cox. You got to have a plan for Bennett, Graham, Nada inside. They also substitute in Chris Long, a number of guys. So, you know, on the back end, Malcolm is a guy we're real familiar with. He's been a great player for them and was for us. I know there's been some injuries, and we'll have to sort through the corner position, but, you know, you're really paying attention to the base and the nickel, what kind of adjustments you get on third down. All of that, you know, goes into the plan.
You mentioned Malcolm, but if you don't mind, another question about him. He's turned into a leader room locker here and one of the better safeties in the league. Did you see that potential in him when he was with you guys?
Yeah, and he was that for us. You know, shoot, he had a huge part in our Super Bowl win his rookie year back in 2009. Mm-hmm. You know, he's extremely intelligent. He's got real good football instincts. And so that carries over to communication. You know, he's very seldom out of place, and he's got a great knack for the ball. You know, I'm a huge fan of his.
Sean, it's Howard Eskin. How are you?
Howard, how are you?
I'm terrific. Is it does Drew Brees coach you or you coach him? I mean, the obvious point is, how easy is it to get points across to a quarterback, and in this case, Drew Brees?
Well, look, the process is never easy. The process is somewhat grueling relative to the work week and the preparation and the communication and the details of what you want to do each week. The amount of time he spends downstairs watching film, the amount of time we spend relative to each situation during the nights, and then it's, you know, we do have a reference at times of plays, of defenses, but I think, you know, he's one of those guys that is outstanding with the details, and I think as coaches, we feel that's critical for us as well. So, I mean, if you tracked his career with the amount of receivers and tight ends and backs and all the different players that he's worked with, there's stress involved in that. And, you know, getting ready so Sunday isn't as stressful, and we know that it is, but trying to create that during the week as best we can.
When you watch tapes of Carson Wentz, as a coach, what do you see?
Well, I see a strong passer. He's got great pocket presence. He's very difficult to bring down. There's a throw he made last week, you know, with guys draped on him. And so he's a physical player. He extends the pocket well for balls down the field. He's very athletic, extremely talented, and obviously has all those other intangibles you look for in that position.
Sean, obviously you know Doug Peterson very well. When a coach is under fire, and it happens to everybody at some time or another, how do you take the beating that either it's the media or the fans give a coach when things aren't going the way they expect?
Look, he just won a Super Bowl, and I recognize.
I know that.
You know, I think. I mean, honestly, we're in the building preparing all week long. Drive home at 2 in the morning, get here early in the morning. You're really not. And look, we've had tough seasons here throughout, but you're really not. You're exposed to it. You don't listen, or you're just not around it. You're in the office preparing your players and working on the next week. And there's a grit element involved for players and coaches in this game. And you saw it last week, even in Dallas. They had a tough game at home against Tennessee, and holy cow, the sky was falling, and they rallied back and put together a good game the following week. And I think that's our business.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Coach. See you on Sunday.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you.
Take care. Bye-bye.